mor Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this panel. I have the pleasure to make the opening speech for you. I hope you don't sleep in the next minutes. So my name is Daniel Lodetti. I'm the Deputy Head of Sustainable Development at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm a diplomat. It's an honor to address this global gathering of innovators, policymakers, and change makers. Today, I want to share with you Brazilian foreign policy, how it's building on its historic G20 presidency, its current BRICS presidency, and our upcoming role as host of COP30 to advance a vision where bioeconomy principles drive sustainable development. Looking back, 2024 was a landmark year for Brazil. We steered the G20. We managed to secure consensus for the first time on the high-level principles on bioeconomy, which is a first-of-its-kind document. The landmark adoption of these principles, endorsed by all G20 leaders, which means that more than 80% of global GDP endorse the principles, establish a transformative framework for social inclusion, decent job creation, and the integration of all three dimensions of sustainable development. This achievement stems from the G20 initiative on bioeconomy, launched by Brazil to pioneer multilateral cooperation in this field. Notably, this marked the first time bioeconomy was addressed in a major multilateral forum, a milestone we believe paves the way for future work. Brazil firmly believes bioeconomy must occupy a central role in the agendas of international institutions, and we congratulate sincerely the WCF for positioning bioeconomy as one of the topics for this meeting. Building on this constructive engagement Brazil has historically presented, we are once again being proactive. And in this spirit, we advocate for the inclusion of bioeconomy in your future work, adopting the high-level principles as a baseline, a ready-made, consensus-driven roadmap to align efforts with global priorities. Domestically, Brazil is translating these global commitments into action through the ongoing efforts of the National Commission on Bioeconomy, ensuring coherence between policy, science, and inclusive economic opportunities. Furthermore, Brazil recognizes the value of both the bioeconomy and the circular economy as important tools to achieve sustainable development. While they are distinct concepts, each with its own scope, approach, and policy implications, their interaction can be complementary and mutually reinforcing as pathways to sustainable development. Reflecting this distinction, Brazil has developed the National Bioeconomy Strategy and its own national plan for bioeconomy, but also the National Strategy on Circular Economy and the recently launched Plan on Circular Economy, launched just last week. Brazil is committed to advancing these topics in many multilateral forums. Our ongoing BRICS presidency has made every effort to prioritize this agenda through initiatives that promote international collaboration. COP30 is another case in point, of course. To be held in the heart of the Brazilian Amazon, this will be a pivotal moment to advance sustainable development through inclusive climate action. By integrating sustainable solutions and multi-stakeholder engagement, Brazil aims to foster a collective path toward a just transition that benefits people, prosperity, and the planet. Brazil's concurrent leadership of the G20, BRICS, and COP30 reflects a strategic coherence in its foreign policy, anchored in advancing sustainable development as a global priority. These presidencies are not isolated endeavors, but interconnected pillars of a deliberate vision to place sustainable development at the heart of the multilateral governance. Within the G20, we champion bioeconomy and inclusive energy transitions. Through BRICS, we foster dialogue on sustainable development solutions and climate justice. And at COP30, which I sincerely hope that will be successful, We will consolidate these efforts by grounding climate ambition in social inclusion and environmental stewardship. This integrated approach ensures that decisions across economic and political forums translate into concrete outcomes at COP30. As underscored by the COP30 President, Ambassador Correia do Lago, yesterday in the plenary, this coherence embodies Brazil's historical commitment to a multilateralism that harmonizes economic growth, social equity, and the environment. Distinguished audience, our actions demonstrate that with political will and clear objectives, we can achieve sustainable development worldwide. It's a great pleasure and a privilege for Brazil to welcome the WCF here in São Paulo. With its tall buildings, this city reaches for the sky, right? But we all know that nothing stands tall without strong foundations. Together, let us ensure that sustainability is not merely aspirational, but actionable, inclusive, and rooted in shared responsibility. A famous Brazilian diplomat and writer, Guimarães Rosa, used to say that what life wants from us is courage. It is with this courage that Brazilian diplomacy, together with you, private sector, society, international engagement, leads the way, transforming bioeconomy principles into bold actions that build foundations for a sustainable future. Thank you. Now I'd like to call Mr. Pavan to moderate the next debate. Please, Mr. Pavan.
So should I think we'll begin with Camilla, right? Yeah. Yes, very good. Thank you. Yes. I'd like to invite Camilla to make an announcement, and then I'll have a few words to say, and then after that we can, sorry, Luciana, not Camilla. Luciana, can we have your announcement, and then after that, sorry? After this, okay, fine. All right, in that case, I'll begin. Yeah. I'm delighted to be here, firstly. It's always a pleasure to be in Brazil, not least because I've always said that Brazil is the global capital for natural capital. It's the global capital for natural capital, and I think people have been slow to recognize that and reflect it, but I believe that is happening. As was mentioned, the connection between the bioeconomy and the circular economy is actually very strong, and beautifully, this is the topic that we are discussing today, which is about circular food systems. And I want to talk about an example from my country. I'm from India, and I want to talk about an example from my country on illustrating that connection that you mentioned, Daniel, between the bioeconomy and the circular economy. Firstly, why do we need any of this? I know that most of you don't need reminding, but this is my one-slide summary of the problem that we face as a collection of right-thinking people who want to solve the problem of nutrition for the world. Of our 8 billion people today, more than 2 billion are deficient in micronutrients, and more than 2.5 billion are considered overweight. And by the way, there is an intersection between these two. Within the overweight, there are almost 0.9 billion, let's say almost 1 billion people who are actually obese, and that is a medical condition. And on the other side, those who are micronutrient deficient include, especially in countries where there is poverty, like my own in India, there are people who are still starving. And that is just not ethical. That is just not something that we as a global human community can accept anymore. And this is the result of our current food system. So clearly, if we say, is the food system working? My answer to you would be no, categorically no. We need a new food system. It has to be circular. It has to be based on bioeconomy principles, and hence the need for looking at what we are facing today. And food systems are, remember, they're food systems. When the United Nations, and I was working with the United Nations Environment Program, and I know that we represent 24% of the greenhouse gas emissions as coming from food systems, but actually what we mean is farming. If we look at the upstream, the deforestation, if we look at the transportation of food, if we look at the consumption and the waste that happens, especially the waste, almost 30%, if we account for all of that, then food systems collectively, not just farming, but food systems, are more like 55%, and that's according to GRAIN. So a large part of greenhouse gas emissions are food systems. 60% of terrestrial biodiversity loss is food systems. 1/3 of soil degradation is food systems. 61% of fish stock depletion, food systems. How can we even accept that this is the food system that we as humanity have seen as a solution to the future? But there are alternatives, and that's what I wish to talk to you about. Perhaps the most heartwarming example that I have to describe to you, and let me just stay with that one example because it deserves a bit of attention, is the example from a state in my country called Andhra Pradesh. It's in the southeast of India. How many of you have actually visited India? Oh, wonderful. And you probably visited and how many have visited Andhra Pradesh? Yes? A few people. Southeast of India, and it's actually a place worth going because this is where the so-called Green Revolution began. So when the Green Revolution began, 2 generations before the young ladies whom I picture on this slide, it was here. However, there's a new green revolution happening, and this one is truly green, my friends, I can assure you, because I've been there 8 times, and I've checked it out for myself. It is truly green because it is based on the principle that agriculture is not about chemistry, it's about biology. The reason why we have the problems that we face, and the reason we need so many pesticides and fertilizers, NPK being applied to the soil, is not because the soil does not know how to grow plants. It does, trust me. For more than 1 billion years, it's been growing the plants that whose food we eat. The problem is that our approach to agriculture kills the biota, the bacteria in the soil that are actually breaking down the NPK compounds, all the nutrients that are in the soil, and absorbing them into the root systems of the plant through osmosis. And the plants are actually generating sugars in their leaves through sunlight, and 30–40% of the sugars that the plant generates go back into the soil. They are diffused back into the soil. This is not because plants are stupid. This is because they are feeding the bacteria who produce their food. It's a symbiotic relationship between the bacteria on the one hand and the plants on the other. And we, my friends, Homo sapiens, the intelligent species, have gone and destroyed that beautiful system. Now we need to build it back. And this is what the community that I refer to, the Andhra Pradesh Community Managed Natural Farming, is doing. Because they work on the basis that what we need is to bioremediate the soil. What we need is to be able to feed bacteria back in the soil so that they can do their job and feed the plants. So this process has begun. I'll talk a bit about it, but I want to begin with an unusual statement, which is the reason why natural farming is succeeding in India and the reason why this community in Andhra Pradesh has grown from nothing 10 years ago and began with a few thousand women farmers committing themselves to this new system. The reason is actually the social capital, if I may use an economic term, the community bonds that are there thanks to the self-help groups that were created by the bureaucrats of those days. 15 and 20 years ago, the microfinance became a great success in Andhra Pradesh. The self-help groups were approached by the same bureaucrat, Mr. Vijay Thallam, a friend of mine, a man whom I deeply respect. He went back to the same self-help groups and women in those groups and said, sisters, will you help me with my next project? I want to plant fruit differently, grow food differently, because you know what is happening. Basically, the effects of pesticides on farmers were quite strong. Health effects are quite significant. And the women said, yes, we'll help you. They formed an organization called RYSS, and that organization was mainly women who learned the methods of regenerative farming and applied them, and they became, in the case of the lady on the left-hand side, that photograph I took, this young lady was a single, poor, scheduled caste. Now, how to explain scheduled caste to those who don't know India? This is the lowest of the caste system, the poorest and the most excluded of the caste system. So literally the most disadvantaged of the social communities. She came from there. By the dint of hard work, she learned the methods of natural farming and became so good that she was given the classification Master Farmer. And so is the other lady on the other side, whom I have not met, but we have exchanged tweets. I think they're called X nowadays, but anyway, so this is a tweet or X from that lady showing on the right-hand side. This is after Cyclone Pethai, which was a cyclone in the state which affected Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. That is my neighbor's farm, and that is non-ZBNF. It was called Zero Budget Natural Farming, and this is her writing, not mine. Non-ZBNF on the left-hand side, and this is my farm on the left-hand. On the right-hand side, all flattened out by the cyclone, and on the left-hand side is her rice crop, which is standing, resilient. Resilience and natural farming go hand in hand. How does this work? There are basically 3 or 4 different methods, but the 2 most important ones, let me just briefly mention. One is how to get the bacteria back in the soil. So they use local cows, and they use the cow dung and cow urine, literally in a drum of 200 liters. They put in 10 kilograms of cow dung and cow urine, and they mix it with 2 kilograms each of molasses and gram flour, which is the cheapest kind of flour, and they top it up with water, and they stir it 2 or 3 times a day until it starts smelling foul. It really smells. And when it really smells, that typically takes 3 days if it's hot, and where I've got a natural farm as well, where it takes, in my case, 4 days because we're in the hills. So then it starts really smelling, then you just apply it. You use a watering can, and you spray it around the place. And everything comes back, including the weeds. And then, of course, you need labor to remove the weeds, but their plant growth is absolutely almost immediate. So that's one approach they follow, which is natural regeneration of bacterial content in the soil, because what they've created in that 200-liter drum is actually, after 3 days, that foul-smelling thing is bacterial soup. It's basically a soup full of bacteria. The thing on the right-hand side is an image of how they plant. They plant all kinds of crops, and you'll find rows: red gram, black gram, chilies, then maize, lots of rows, and then next rice again, and then red gram, black gram, chilies, then maize, rice. And somewhere in the distance, you'll find even fruit trees. Everything is in rows, because as one crop finishes, they harvest it, they mulch it, and they cover all the soil. Then when the next crop finishes, that gets used as mulch. Constant mulching in this fashion across the seasons results in, on average, half the amount of water use, because evapotranspiration doesn't happen, because you've got ground covered with all kinds of things. The mulch covers the soil and prevents evapotranspiration or slows it down, and that helps actually retain moisture in the soil and enables them to even have crops in there in the dry season, and that's an amazing thing. So is this working? Is it not working? Well, I was asked to do that by a group called the Global Alliance for the Future of Food, which is a bunch of West Coast foundations who are interested in this. So we did a study, my team and I, many years ago, 2020, we started the study. Ironically, guess what else happened in 2020? COVID. So we had to actually use the help of a local group of researchers in a university there to send people with great protection. Thankfully, nobody died, nobody got affected. But we had to really work in difficult conditions. And we did this study comparing, because Andhra Pradesh, that's the state that you see out there. Oops, sorry. The state that you see out there is Andhra Pradesh. And it's a large state. It's 55 million people, and it has 6 million farmers. And it has actually 3 ecological regions. So there's a dryland region out here, where we selected 2 farms which follow natural farming and 2 which don't, but with similar crops, because when you're comparing and studying, you have to compare similar cropping systems. Then there's the delta region. This thing out here on the right-hand side is basically the delta of 2 major rivers, Krishna and Godavari, and they both combine, and that is the delta. And it's largely irrigated because both rivers have very poor water flow. Surprise, surprise, because of deforestation upstream. And then there's the region on top, which is a mountainous region, lots of rainfall, and tribal communities. And there, it's kind of default organic because they don't have the money to buy pesticides and fertilizers, but the yields are very low. So we did a study across all 3, actually 3 studies combined into one, because you have to evaluate these separately. And the conclusions we found were actually quite staggering. Across these 3 different ecoregions, on average, yields were higher, 11%, over the first 3 years of which natural farming happens. So when people tell you that, oh, it takes long, there's a period of loss of yield, that is just rubbish. I mean, that is basically the spin that the companies that sell chemical pesticides and fertilizers are trying to make you believe. But this is not true. My study is available. If anyone is here from any of the chemical companies and you want the Python code and the database, just ask, you'll get it for free. I know you're very poor, so you can't afford it, right? Yeah. So we showed that this higher yields come up straight away within the first 3 years. The profits are 49% higher for these. Why? Because the costs are lower, and in some cases the yields are higher. And the second reason is because the local markets where this produce is sold, people understand that this is healthy. So when a natural farmer goes with his basket of tomatoes and bindi, vegetables and so on, or in this case, the fruit that she's carrying, they will sell because people trust that this is healthy food. And the people who go with, who are still following the chemical farming, their produce sales are lower. So actually your sales is higher simply because people are buying your food and not buying other food. So less waste, in other words. And the other results was that, well, because of the nature of the farming, it's automatically more crops. You tend to be growing almost twice as 2.1 as against 4 crops on average. And you're basically getting a positive return on social investment made by the farmers and by the state, which subsidizes the salaries of these women that I showed you, who are the master farmers. Because the way this works is, the master farmer, once she's successful, the first thing she's asked to do is, now please relocate yourself to, here's a selection of 10 other villages, please relocate yourself. And then she relocates, but then there's a loss in income, so therefore she has to be paid in compensation of the loss of income. So a lot of the budget for this natural farming is just paying the salaries to the master farmers so they can go to somewhere else and teach their skills to other farmers, because it takes time to change behaviors. It takes time for the natural farming to set up. It's actually a community-based system replicated through this self-help group network that was already there. So using social capital and using natural capital to generate food systems which are sustainable, circular, and are part of the bioeconomy. So that's my example. Thank you very much. Now, Luciana, yes. I'm sorry? Can I just request the panelists to come in, please? Luciana, please join us. And Maurizio, and Gustavo, and Lisa, please join us here on the panel. Yeah. So I have a few questions for you, and you're all experts in this area of bioeconomy, and I want to ask questions which open out your own experiences in this. So I'll begin with Gustavo. Now, can you tell us, Gustavo, how innovation can help foster a circular economy in food systems?
Thanks, Pavan.
And perhaps just a line to introduce yourself, even though people can read who you are, just maybe a few words about yourself. Yeah.
Hi. All right.
A few words about
Bom dia a
yourself.
todos e todas. Eu vou falar.
Good morning, everyone. I was asked to talk in English.
Here with you in this amazing team. On behalf of the Brazilian Agriculture Research Corporation, it's a great pleasure to be here. Just a short note before I start. I really like it when you mention soil inoculants on your speech.
Yes.
This is very important in the context of Brazilian agriculture. We are a global leader in the use of nitrogen fixation in the soil for soybeans and other crops. For you to have an idea, Brazil saves per year in chemical fertilizers $25 billion per year, just that are related, of course, to the use of these bioinputs for soybean production mainly. And yesterday, Mariangela Hungria, a colleague of mine from Embrapa, won the World Food Prize, which is like the Nobel Prize for Agriculture, due to this work on nitrogen biological fixation. So coming to your question, I think first and foremost, there is a strong point that I would like to highlight, which is to mitigate the monotony of agri-food systems. We are talking here about food security and nutrition, and as highlighted yesterday by Susana Muhammad on her speech, in the context of Brazil and Latin America, it's very important for us to make more use in our diets of the biodiversity, not only from the Amazon, which is our most famous, let's say, biome, but also the Cerrado, the Brazilian Caatinga as well. If we do this work, we will have tremendous opportunities to apply circular economy principles for bioinputs use and so on. And there are three critical dimensions I would like to highlight on this agenda of the circular economy of foods. The first one is adopting a broad perspective on innovation. We talk a lot about disruptive innovations, the use of artificial intelligence, even quantum computing. But we need to think more about the opportunities to apply social innovation principles and even grassroots innovation to improve the use of biodiversity for nutrition and also to improve, of course, the food security and nutrition for the communities that are lacking the access to nutrition diets. The second point is recognizing and analyzing the trade-offs among the different stakeholders from farm to fork to come up with win-win solutions. And finally, encouraging voluntary agreements and public-private coalitions with a focus on food losses and waste mitigations. We are doing quite well in this agenda. This year, Brazil will launch the second intersectoral strategies for food waste and losses mitigation. And the rep from the United Kingdom will launch in partnership with WWF Brazil and also some government representatives, the first Brazilian coalition to fight food losses and waste this year as well. When it comes to this comprehensive view of innovation I just mentioned, technological advances such as upcycling that repurpose byproducts play a key role. Embrapa and partners have developed several technological solutions such as smart packaging. Luciana are aware of this, I'm sure. And the latest one I would like to highlight today, it's a smart nanofiber mat. This is very difficult to translate, so this smart nanofiber mat, it's quite interesting. It's produced from waste agri-food materials, and then that can actually indicate when fish begins to spoil. It's an impressive step forward in food safety and sustainability. This technology was launched a few days ago, and it's not in market yet, but it's an opportunity for the private sector. Looking ahead, I want to highlight also a new project we are particularly proud of, the micro biorefinery of residual plant biomasses. This initiative focuses on transforming plant waste from açaí and cupuaçu, fruits from the Amazon basin, into valuable products like ethanol, biofertilizers, and even feed for animals. It's a great example of how we can turn waste into resources through innovation. At the same time, social innovation is equally important in developing new business models that help reduce food losses and waste. While disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence is reshaping numerous sectors, a significant challenge remains here in the Global South. The need to innovate with a focus on those who still lack access to quite simple technologies necessary for food production and who live in underserved urban areas with limited access to nutritious diets. In this context, grassroots innovations becomes increasingly vital. Solutions must be co-created with these communities. We have to listen them to understand their realities. Of course, in the context of Latin America, most of the population are in the base of the pyramid, and then if we listen them, if we work with them more, we will end up coming up with solutions that have a bigger impact. Then comes this point that is also quite important, which is understanding trade-offs across the food supply chain. To promote a circular food economy, we must examine the interdependencies and trade-offs among all stakeholders, from producers to consumers. And for instance, just to highlight what I mean, investing in better packaging is crucial to reducing food losses and waste. However, small-scale fruits and vegetable producers, farmers, often operate on tight margins and may rely on consignment-based sales to retailers. This raises an important question. How can we finance innovation in a way that ensures these technologies are accessible and viable for the stakeholders who need them most? Finally, I'm about to finish. I know my time is over.
It is.
The role of voluntary agreements and public-private coalitions. So, countries, in a nutshell, countries that have already public-private partnerships to reduce food losses and waste are the ones that are progressing faster on this agenda. We need to come up with solutions involving not only different government levels, but also the industry, retailers, and NGOs. And I believe Brazil is starting to do well on this agenda as well. Thanks, and I believe later I have some more time.
Thanks, Maurizio. We enjoyed your many examples here. Now I'd like to turn to Thanks, Gustavo. I'd like to turn to Maurizio from the FAO. Can you give us some examples of bioeconomy initiatives, which are from the FAO itself, which you supported? And could you briefly mention what are the key challenges that you faced in that? And no more than 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. I will try to be brief.
Yeah.
So I think the first comment that I would like to make before getting into details is that we cannot really discuss a transition towards bioeconomy without understanding that there's more than 750 million, facing hunger and malnutrition across the globe. So this is why I believe that the relevance of Brazil's pushing the G20 for the principles of bioeconomy is extremely relevant to discuss. In Latin America, and as you mentioned as well in other parts of the world, agri-food systems, they play a fundamental role. But it's not only about the systems, it's about the people living in rural areas.
Yeah.
They play a fundamental role in pushing for this transition. If we look specifically at Latin America, family farmers are responsible for the food that we consume in our cities, despite facing some of the highest levels of poverty and unsatisfied basic needs. And food waste and loss also represents an enormous challenge. 13% of the food produced globally is lost each year, with an approximate economic value of $400 billion. But sometimes when we discuss these issues, they can seem too big, too complex, which is why I really like Pavel's example to really give in some kind of territorial approach. And this is also why I wanted to do this today.
It's about, your question is about examples, so please stay with that.
So today I'm going to discuss specifically the issue of Amazon bioeconomy. I mean, I think most of us understand what it is, but it's basically one of the biggest rainforests in the planet. But despite the fact that it's considered a key ally in the fight against global change, it is at the risk of reaching the tipping point, or the point of no return. So we need to find a way to create a new economy in the Amazon region that is capable of providing incentives for the more than 50 million people that live across the 9 countries that participate and live in the Amazon region. So simply put, we need to find a way to add value or increase value to the standing forest and the healthy rivers in comparison to classic economic alternatives with low productivity models. That is the reason why FAO, in collaboration with the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization and the 8 member countries, FAO doesn't do anything by itself, we do everything with the member states, develop an Amazon Bioeconomy Investment Program in 2024. And just to give you an example of the opportunity, we're looking at a global value projection for bioeconomy enterprises by 2030, estimated in $7.7 trillion. And despite holding 45% of the tropical forest of the world, the Amazon region's participation is estimated at 0.17%, which is extremely low. So 3 challenges, to be very concrete. The first one, it has to do with the scale. There are significant contributions like the one that Embrapa is mentioning, the work that IDESAM is doing, the colleagues from Convio that are downstairs, that provide examples of how we can do things different, demonstrating that you can use local technologies, local innovations, ancestral knowledge to participate in this. But we still need to recognize that we have niche processes competing against very big unsustainable practices, such as mining, such as unsustainable agricultural practices, and illicit activities. Informality is a huge issue in the Amazon region. So in order to really be able to boost an Amazon bioeconomy, we require more data, more evidence, and traceability tools. Now, in order to be able to do that, we need to give them the basic tools to be able to compete with linear economies. Just to give an example, the digital gap in the Amazon region represents that 25 million people do not have access to internet. In a region, that means 50% of the population do not have access to internet. So that tells you how a basic tool that we need for any kind of business model is missing in this equation. And third, it has to do with governance. The Amazon region has a long history of failed mega projects, perhaps for some of you.
You're at 4 minutes already, actually.
Okay, so I will stop there.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah. And I mean, I think, but very good points on poverty, on waste, and on your 2024 bioeconomy program. But I think part of the challenge is when you mentioned your statistics of 0.3%, how do you measure the bioeconomy if you do not account for the ecosystem services that the Amazon rainforest generates? The nutrients and freshwater services of the Amazon rainforest are actually part of the global food economy, but nobody accounts for them. And that's part of the reason why these numbers fly around, unfortunately. But question now to a different area to Luciana, in terms of you are from the packaging industry, and that's a very significant part of the delivery of food. How, and of course, the World Packaging Organization is your chapeau. How do you take part in the challenge of resilience for food systems? How do you add to the resilience? Tell us.
Thank you, Pavan. It's great to join you today. And let me start by provoking you. So imagine if after all the efforts that we have been discussing these 2 days on resilient food systems, to scale food safety, to serve global society needs and well-being, the food is lost or wasted. Either after harvesting or during distribution or sales, processing, or even wasted during consumption. And we know it's not an if question, it does happen. So Pavan, this is where the WPO, the World Packaging Organization, comes in, and where packaging comes in. Because it's not only about growing food, it's about making sure that it will reach consumers in a safe, efficient, and sustainable way as well. So it involves driving food chains as integrated food systems, understanding the entire supply chain, the entire product's life cycle, and for sure, engaging all the stakeholders of this supply chain. The impacts of losing food are huge. Pavan has shown us the number of people that really don't have access to food, also the use of land. And besides that, when food is lost or wasted and it goes to landfills, for example, they have an anaerobic decomposition. That means they are decomposing without oxygen, without light, without microorganisms, and they are generating methane that is even stronger than CO2 emissions for the climate impact. So wasting food brings in different ways a huge sustainability impact. So with that, packaging is the tool that allows not only food preservation, but the extension of food shelf life. So taking into consideration Brazil, that is a country with continental dimensions, it can take 1 month for a food product produced in the south of Brazil to reach the north of Brazil. 1 month under very different climate conditions. At the same time, when we look at usability, packaging can always allow usability and convenience to consumers in order to avoid food waste as per dosing systems, as per the possibility to reclose the packaging. And for sure, and we are going to talk about this later, we have to balance the circularity issue of packaging as well. But what I just want to say is that as WPO and packaging national bodies from across the globe, we are committed to combat food loss and waste, fostering more sustainable packaging solutions and technical references, and also promoting and supporting packaging innovation awards. So on that, just one very nice example from the maize project in Kenya. So this project brought us a situation where the maize was exposed in open air after the harvest. And then with that, by being exposed, producers would lose 20% of the production. But that was not all. They also lost 50% of the production due to pests. So that's when packaging came in, and in both cases, the loss for the rain impact or for the pests as well, it was reversed with the adoption of hermetically sealed packaging that was suitable for sure for the conditions of the local producers in terms of costs, in terms of technology as well. And then many other examples in smart or intelligent packaging or regular packaging can also support the global food chain to avoid waste. As for example, as we mentioned, modified atmosphere applied for meat packaging or even antibacterial packaging for dairy products as well. So there are solutions out there to preserve the products so they reach consumers. So it's more than just fostering regenerative food systems, but it's about also preserving them, preserving the food so we can use them in its best capacity. And then to conclude, Pavan, just let me share 5 design principles for food-saving packaging. So very quickly, design to contain and protect, design to preserve and extend the shelf life, design to ensure convenience and usability, design to communicate to consumers how to preserve, how to use it, and for sure, design to balance goals of reducing food waste with sustainable packaging. And as we are talking about collaboration, I want to give a spoiler for the first time and
Sorry,
announce.
that's your next question, actually. We're not yet talking about collab, but I will ask
Okay,
you
okay.
in a moment. Yeah, thanks. But I'd like to turn, thank you, Luciana. I'd like to turn to Lisa. Lisa, as a youth leader, can you give us an interesting example of a youth-led initiative that has successfully contributed to food system resilience?
Okay, hello everyone. I am from Cameroon, and as earlier mentioned, 1/3 of the food we produce is lost or wasted before it even reaches the consumers. And in Africa in general, it is worse because most countries in Africa, and I'll be talking with perspective to Cameroon, we don't have stable electricity to say we're going to freeze our foods, we're going to use like cooling chambers and all of that. So I designed a dehydrator specifically for fruit and vegetables because Cameroon is really diverse when it comes to fresh fruits and vegetables. So I saw the problem and I came up with the solution of designing a dehydrator for fruits and vegetables so we could help smallholder farmers to reduce their post-harvest losses and diversify their incomes. So this is how it works. During seasons of harvest, there's like lots of fruits, there are lots of vegetables, and when these products are taken into the market and not all of them are sold, most of them go to waste. So what I do, I designed a dehydrator, and it was just for a school project, and so many people showed interest in it. And I said, okay, why not take this thing, why not take this thing big? And so many people supported me, so many smallholder farmers supported me because I grew up in a farm. My grandparents are farmers, my mom is a farmer. And so when people in my community saw this initiative, they really supported me and they wanted it big. So I came up with an NGO that we're still working on called Renewable Energy for Agriculture and Development. And we basically work with smallholder farmers, especially women-led farming corporations. We design these dehydrators and then we teach them how to use it, how to dehydrate their foods and package them to increase their shelf life and also diversify their income. They are able to take the fresh products to the market and the dry products to the market. Also, we're working on transforming most of these products like potatoes and cassava. We're able to transform potatoes into like potato flour. We're able to transform cassava into cassava flour. And all of these are used in different forms and they are still really good food for everyone. So that is what I am working on right now. And then I also have a friend from Kenya who works with smallholder farmers too on transforming wonky vegetables. These are vegetables that you see at the supermarket and you do not like to take them because they look crooked or they don't look aesthetically pleasing to the eyes. So she transforms these vegetables and these fruits into products that are more palatable. Imagine you see a fruit that doesn't look like a normal apple you would want to take. It's crooked. But then, if this apple is chopped up and it's in a fruit salad, you would never know, and you will still enjoy it like a normal apple. So that is what she does, and it's really gaining traction in Kenya. So these are the two youth-led initiatives that
Super.
I am
Yeah.
working on and I am supporting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted to hear the dehydrator. By the way, how much does a dehydrator cost, just to give the audience a sense of, you can express it and convert it from your currency into dollars, how much would it be? for
Okay,
one of them?
so they come in different sizes, actually. So the largest one we made, it cost about, I'm trying to do the conversion
Yeah.
from France.
And when you say light, light means it serves one family or more farms? How many farms can a
Okay,
single-
so we work with corporations, so it's
Yeah.
like women in a particular village, they come together, they form a corporation, and then we design the dehydrator for them. They use it, they are a registered corporation, so
Right.
they use it as a corporation.
Cool.
Okay, so I think the largest one we did was about $250.
$250.
Yeah.
The big one. And the small one?
The small ones go for maybe $100, $150, because we try to use, as much as possible, we try to use local materials
yeah,
to
yeah.
produce it.
Very
yeah.
good. No, I didn't know the answer at all. So but I guess there would be something really economic, which is
Yes.
accessible to the average farming community of the average farm corporation. So I'm delighted to hear your answer. The second round, which we have less time for, I'm going to reverse the questions. I'm going to begin with you, Lisa, right? So the example you gave is where you drew comfort and support from the fact that you come from a farming family and that you got support from them. And that's the kind of community support that I find really works. But how can we scale this? Like, do you believe that young voices are actually being heard when it comes to the global food policy dialogue? In other words, are governments, NGOs, or the private sector listening to the youth or not? And if not, then what can be done to improve this situation?
Okay, I would say youth voices are not being heard enough, because youths are actually speaking up, but I think only about 9% of youth voices have a significant impact when it comes to food policy discussions. I feel there's a disconnect when it comes to grassroots level youth and grassroots farmers and food policy makers. There's a disconnect between these two. And then I would suggest that governments and NGOs should make a conscious effort and try to connect with these people.
Yeah.
Because that is where sustainability starts.
Yes.
It starts from the grassroots level.
Yeah.
I have been at the forefront of grassroots level agriculture and food systems, and I would say the first thing I would recommend is that these big bodies could allocate at least 5% of their food system funding to youth-led initiatives. I would take an example of the World Bank funding agricultural startups in Africa, which has led to about a 35% increase in rural agricultural employment of youth. That is something that if many organizations could take that into consideration.
So you're saying 5% for youth-led initiatives or youth-driven initiatives?
Like 5%, at
Yeah.
least 5%.
You want at least 5%, yes.
Yes,
I
at
mean, it's not
least,
unreasonable.
at least. We don't mind more, you know.
I mean,
So,
considering the youth are more than 65% of the population,
Yes.
asking for 5% is not a bad, not an unreasonable ask.
yeah, so we're just like,
Yeah.
please, at
Right,
least 5% should be
Good.
allocated
Yes,
to us. 5% should be allocated to youth-led initiatives, because youths are very creative out there. I have seen projects. I am a proud recipient of the MasterCard Foundation scholarship program at the University of Edinburgh, and I had the chance to meet lots of youth with great business ideas when it comes to food systems. Great business ideas when it comes to food systems, but they all have one problem, and it is funding.
Yeah.
The problem of funding.
Funding, yes.
Yeah. And if organizations could also make it a point of interest to have youth bodies in all these big organizations could have youth bodies and youth representatives that can bring ideas of the youth to the big tables. Yeah, that would be good.
No, I can buy that. I mean, one comment I'll make for the youth is that they will live a lot longer on this planet that we are ruining. So I think they need to have a bigger voice. And so yes, thank you very much. Going back to the other, now we'll have to be really quick, so I'm going to request all of you to try and be no more than a couple of minutes each, and then we'll end with Luciana because we go on to your launch, right? So, Gustavo, how does Brazil promote collaboration between different levels of government to strengthen circular urban food systems? That's the question. Yeah.
Thanks, Pavan. Just a short note, Lisa, I really enjoyed your comments. The reality, Brazilian smallholders of producers of fruits and veggies are very similar to the challenges you face in Africa. For instance, we have a lot of surplus food production in the green belts of São Paulo, Rio, and Brasilia related to not a surplus food production, mainly related to the visual quality standards required by retailers. So smallholders, they have certain buyers, retailers, that sometimes do not buy leafy vegetables, radishes, tomatoes, zucchinis, just because they are ugly. So what to do with this food production that is being wasted? We are talking about hundreds of tons per week in São Paulo, Rio, and Brasilia. And dehydration, as you mentioned, is an alternative, but we also have to think on social innovation alternatives, such as social supermarkets that already exist in the US and Europe and are not common in Brazil, and even food procurement schemes that can be targeted on these surplus foods that are perfectly edible, nutritious, and are being lost at the farm level. So coming to your question, Pavan, Brazil, as you know, just like India, is a huge nation. We have 5,570 municipalities. So it's a big challenge for us that are working with food policies to get our hands dirty, to understand better the realities of the deep Brazil, the Northeast region, the municipalities in the North regions, because the disparities are huge, not only in social and economic terms, but also in cultural terms. So when we think about fighting food insecurity, we have to understand the culture of each municipality to come up with solutions that are aligned with the consumption culture of the territory. And Brazil is doing quite well on this. We launched last year, the Ministry of Social Development, the Feeding Cities program. In Portuguese is Estratégia Alimenta Cidades. This strategy involves 60 municipalities. It's already implemented in every Brazilian capital. Last week, the last face-to-face initial meeting was held in Natal, which, by the way, is my hometown in the northeast corner of Brazil. And just for you to have an idea on how big is Brazil, it takes more than 3 hours flight from Natal to São Paulo. So these Brazilian cities are putting in practice some initiatives quite interesting that involves composting, urban agriculture initiatives. Curitiba and Belo Horizonte, for instance, are two capitals that are already doing very well in urban agriculture, and we want to promote these initiatives in other Brazilian capitals. They can be replicated for sure. One of the challenges is to better delineate the governance at the local level. We perceive that the municipalities that are doing better on these circular food systems initiatives are the ones that perceive food as a strategy asset. When food appears in the, let's say, in the organogramma, in the
priorities, table of priorities?
Yeah, in the table of priorities of the municipality.
Yes.
When there is, for instance, a secretary focus on food, like Milano in Italy, for instance, or Curitiba in Brazil, which is a very good case. We see that they perform better. So the idea is to work hand in hand with city governments to develop comprehensive plans that improve the healthiness and sustainability of urban food environments. These plans include actions from farm to fork. As I mentioned, peri-urban agriculture is very important to create shorter food supply chains and connecting small farmers with school feeding programs. Brazil has a huge school feeding program that involves 40 million students per day. The annual budget is about 5 billion reais per year. It's not enough, but it did progress in the past 2 years. And we are also talking about composting initiatives tied to school and community gardens, linking food retailers with food banks. Brazil has a national network of food banks with more than 150 food banks. And the main food bank network in Brazil is Mesa Brasil from SESC. If you guys do not know, please Google Mesa Brasil. It's an amazing initiative. It's a model for the Global Food Bank Network as well. And another very important point is partnering with startups through open innovation programs. In short, it's an holistic approach from farm to fork, focused on making our cities healthier, more equitable, and more resilient through food. Thanks.
Thanks, Gustavo. And Mauricio, really we only have time for one example. If you can just mention one interesting example or an opportunity in terms of rural development and agri-food systems, sustainable rural agri-food systems. So please, just one example, because that's all we have.
All right, I'm going to stick to the Amazon region.
Please, yes.
And I think the first thing that I want to highlight is the role of indigenous peoples. Indigenous peoples, they collectively manage more than 30% of the Amazon territory. And without doubt, they have demonstrated to be the best guardians of the forest. Any potential bioeconomy solution needs to consider the special role of indigenous peoples and traditional communities, making use of the legal instruments that we have at disposal, such as free, prior, and informed consent. And if you allow me to give you a second comment, I think another opportunity has to do with the increasing recognition from financial institutions of the need to adjust risk assessment tools and credit access tailored specifically to family farmers, artisanal fisher folks, traditional communities. For example, here in Brazil, you have the Amazon Bioeconomy Hub of the Bank of Brazil, which is doing a fantastic job in this role, or examples like the Green Business Office from the Ministry of the Environment in Colombia. I think those are very good examples of how the financial system is finally addressing some of the gaps that are for family farmers to be able to.
Really needs to be recognized. And my last question to the panel is to Luciana on the theme of collaboration. And before we go on to the launch of your study, how can collaboration support better packaging and packaging sustainability?
I'll be brief, Pavan. I'll share just one case.
One example, please.
Is one example, and let me comment to Lisa that I also learned a lot from your comment and the gap between policymakers and the youth. I think it's something that we have to pay attention to. But just one example on your question. The packaging sustainable development is driven by the 3 R's. So it's about reducing, it's about reusing, and for sure it's about recycling. And when we talk about recycling, we have a huge challenge on the recycling, throughout the recycling stream. So it starts with designing for recycling, and you can download a guide for that at WPO's website. But it's more than that. It's key that we guarantee that packaging that is being disposed of for recycling, that it fits the recycling stream, and it has value for the recycling stream, because the recycling stream is an economic stream as well. And that starts by engaging consumers on how to dispose of packaging for recycling. And for that, the Brazilian Packaging Association has created a program to educate and to engage consumers to disposal for recycling that is called Lupinha. You can check downstairs. And it's a QR code. So a QR code that you can read in a packaging, and with this QR code, you understand how to dispose of that packaging with value to the recycling stream. And to understand how to build value on top of that, ABRE works with a waste picker that is called Toninho. So Toninho works at a recycling cooperative at Poços de Calda, nearby São Paulo. And by working with Toninho in a collaboration process, we are learning a lot. Because it's not only donating equipment to the recycling cooperatives, it's about working together with them. And it's about bringing their perspective to the industry arena. So we are counting on him to teach consumers to dispose of our recycling. And let me conclude by saying that what we learned is that the real sense of collaboration is about effectively integrate different perspectives. And it's about, Pavan, building the opportunity to belong.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. With that, it's my honor to thank everyone. So, Lisa, Luciana, Maurizio, Gustavo, thank you so much for an excellent panel that you've had for us. And my thanks. Please, if you could take your seats, because then after that, I would like Muge and Luciana to come here and do the launch of the report. But I'll also like to thank the audience, and thank you for, I know you all had choices, and you've come to this session, which I believe is, in my opinion, as you can see from the speakers, really interesting and something that is critical for the future of food systems and circularity together. And thank you for the audience. Can I have a shout out to two friends? Susanna Mohammed, thank you for being here with us. I'm really honored that you came. And Khalil, thank you. I know you are one of the organizers, and thank you so much for being here with us. And please convey to your organizing friends, I'm very happy with the fact that the water is in glass bottles and the cups are paper, nothing in plastic. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I invite you to launch the report, and I believe you have a video, so I'm going to step off the stage. Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Pavan.
Okay.
Thank you, Pavan, and thank you for you that stayed here with us. This is a very special occasion for us. So I'm honored to join you today as the president of WPO, the World Packaging Organization. That is the global institutional body of the packaging industry, uniting packaging national bodies in 65 countries across the globe under the goal to advancing packaging through innovation in science, in technology, and sustainability. And then today, on behalf of WPO, UNIDO, represented here by my colleague Muge Dolum, and also on behalf of Wageningen University Research that is based in the Netherlands. It's a great privilege to launch with you, and I ask to have the QR code here on the stage, a very special position paper about navigating the food loss and waste paradox, balancing food loss and waste with safe food packaging. It is great to have the opportunity to launch this position paper within the World Circular Economy Forum, and especially with such distinguished audience. I do believe this event is unique for gathering leaders and professionals and specialists from different areas and from different sectors, from private, public, third sectors as well, summing up collective intelligence and capabilities to develop guidelines. But more than that, as we have been speaking these 2 days, to develop an action plan to engage multiple stakeholders to untie the knots of the transition to a circular economy. And that is the purpose of this position paper that we launched today. So it aims to explore the complexities of the food loss and waste paradox encompassing food systems. The goal is to delve into the challenges, the opportunities, and potential solutions that lie at the intersection of food loss and waste and packaging sustainability. So packaging is vital, as we have been discussing, to enhance the shelf life of products, but at the same time, it presents some challenges. And they are to optimize the use of raw materials, to engage consumers in preventing littering and encouraging proper disposal for recycling, and to improve, definitely, recyclability, to promote reuse, and to increase the use of recycled materials. And this challenge is even bigger with the global society growth. So with that, it is key to promote sustainability also beyond packaging technology, but embracing consumers and consumption, driving sustainability in products' life cycle throughout the consumption chain, and embracing municipal waste management and recycling infrastructure. So with that, I come to the launch of this document. And the collaborative effort in launching this position paper, Navigating the Food Loss and Waste Paradox, leverages a diverse expertise and perspectives from packaging bodies and stakeholders in 53 countries. They took part throughout 2024 in many conferences in Vienna and 3 roundtables worldwide in Asia, African and Arab regions, and in Latin America, under the goal to provide a clear and comprehensive understanding of the complexities involved in achieving a sustainable and resilient global food system. And with this, what we want is not only to inform, but to inspire actionable and collaborative solutions that resonate across sectors, governments, industries, and society. So with that, I take this opportunity to thank all the ones probably watching online involved in this project. A special thanks to Ali Bardanet, Division Chief at UNIDO, and his team, Alexa Mirkovic and Isabel Fruitfield. Also Elke Vestra from the Wageningen University, Nerida Kelton, Vice President for Sustainability of WPO, and Johannes Bergmer. And now to delve deeper in the key findings and insights of this important document, we would like to introduce a short video message from Elke Vestra from the Wageningen University and Research. With you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Elke Westra. I am Program Manager in the field of food storage and distribution at Wageningen University and Research, and I'm honored to present our collaborative effort with UNIDO and World Packaging Organization in addressing the critical issue of food waste and packaging. Food loss and waste are huge global challenges, with about 1/3 of food produced worldwide being lost or wasted each year. This impacts food security, nutrition, and the environment. Our joint position paper dives into the paradox of food waste and packaging, exploring how we can balance reducing food waste with minimizing environmental impact. Imagine farmers in Africa storing their maize harvest. Without proper packaging, much of this maize could be lost to pest and spoilage within weeks. Hermetically sealed bags protect the maize, preserving it for months, increasing food availability. However, these bags are often made from plastic, which contributes to pollution. This paradox is tricky. Reducing plastic bags means more maize spoils, but using them prevents food waste while harming the environment. Finding the right balance is crucial. Our extensive research underscores the importance of addressing local needs and priorities. To tackle this, we propose setting up centers of excellence on packaging. These centers will provide specialized services needed to develop targeted solutions. Wageningen University and Research is already a leading example of such a center, driving innovation and sustainability in food packaging. Additionally, we advocate for comprehensive assessment of packaging interventions within food value chains. By considering the specific context of different value chains, regions, and country regulations, our methodology will enable more effective and tailored solutions to the food waste and packaging challenge. Together, we aim to develop and implement solutions that balance food preservation with sustainability. In conclusion, our joint position paper emphasizes the need for a balanced approach to the food waste and packaging paradox. By combining our expertises and establishing centers, we can develop strategies that reduce food waste, protect the environment, and promote sustainable food systems. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks to Elke and thanks to Luciana. It is my pleasure to stand with you today on the podium at the launch of this vital position paper, and especially on behalf of United Nations Industrial Development Organization and my colleagues Ali Badane and Alexa Mirkovic, who are leading this work at our headquarters. We would like to express our deep gratitude to our partners, the WPO and the Wageningen University. For UNIDO, this position paper is more than a collection of best practices, case studies. It's really a global call to action. One thing that became a clear takeaway from the global consultations that we conducted is the need for a holistic systems-based approach, especially when it comes to strengthening what we call the hidden middle, where the food is processed, packaged, and then moved through the value chain. While packaging's role in preservation of food is apparent, is really clear, there are still too many countries that lack both the policy frameworks but also the technical capacity as well as the investment to scale sustainable solutions. Unlocking this potential will be key to building the resilient food systems that we're talking about that can deliver both economic opportunity and food security to billions of people while also reducing the pressure on resources and the environment. We believe, and it's summarized in the report that I hope you will all take the time to also peruse through, the report outlines 7 key areas of action that also includes practical and scalable solutions that are meant to be adapted to specific country needs. These range from strengthening the packaging organizations globally to improving the data systems, etc. As I said, we won't have time to go through these today, but please do use the QR code to review the report. I want to close with reiterating UNIDO's readiness to support the implementation and work with our partners, namely the governments, the industry, the communities, to turn the insights that are reflected in this position paper into actual action. As I said, for us, it's really a global call to action. We do believe that we do need coordinated effort, but with coordinated effort, we can reduce both food loss and waste, at the same time strengthen the communities and advance sustainable industrial development. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for staying a bit longer from your lunch break. Thank you.